All right, guys, I know you haven't heard from me for quite some time now. You know, I told you guys that I was working on some things, and I'm still working on some things. I made my hijra, uh, and I've been gone for quite some time off of this channel. I've been trying to build up my other channel. Um, I've been trying to build up my other channel, but I'll probably post on here now. I'll probably be more regular on here now. Um, but to give you a little bit of an update, I have officially left the United States for good. You know, um, it was a very difficult thing, to decide. I was like, dang, am I gonna leave or am I gonna stay? But just looking at the political climate and things like that, I said, I gotta leave, man. It just wasn't looking good. And it definitely wasn't looking good for if you're an immigrant like myself, although I was legal, although I've been there for so long. But because I was critical of things that were going on there, you know, when it comes to the global issues, not the global and domestic issues, actually, I just said it was time to leave, So I left. And, you know, now I'm in a former Soviet Union country. I now live here. I now work here. I now train boxing here again. And inshallah, I'm back in the mix when it comes to boxing. That was one thing that was lingering on me is that I had to leave my coach behind, you know. And my coach was, wallahi, when I say he was the most technical coach I had in boxing in America, he was the most technical coach I had in boxing. He was so meticulous to details, but he also gave you like common sense things. He would tell you like, you never know, you're never gonna be able to prepare. No, well, actually, in essence, what he said is like, you're going to have to go through it in order for you to actually learn how to do it. You know, so what that meant is that no matter how many times you hit the bat, no matter how many times you hit pads or the mitts, that you were going to have to become, um, you're going to have to learn by being in fights and what have you. So, what I want to talk about, okay, this is what I want to talk about. And I'll be posting regular, and I'll be probably doing more fight reviews in terms of equipment because I do have some new equipment since I've been here. Alhamdulillah, I got some new gloves from a brand that is very not really publicized in the West, but um, I want to really go on a deep dive about this Crawford Canelo fight and all its uh, and all of the details in this fight. Now, because where I'm at, the time zone is so different. I have to stay up very, very late to watch these fights. I have to sometimes 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm watching fights. Sometimes 5 in the morning. I'm waking up to watch fights because of the time zone difference. But I made it a fact to catch this fight. I wasn't really thrilled with the undercard, so to say. Especially like I hate to say it, I'm African and things like that. But and Billy, he doesn't really do it for me, bro. I just think he's a pressure fighter and that he just takes the fight to you. And yes, it's an all action fight, but I prefer all around boxers. Me personally, I prefer either A, you're an all around boxer, or B, you're a you're a pure outboxer. Yes, those are the two styles I prefer. you know. Now, what I said before the fight, this is what I said before the fight. I said if Terence Crawford wins this fight, then he surpasses Mayweather. I also said that Terence Crawford has the ability to outbox Canelo in such a convincing fashion that it will leave nothing. It will leave nothing to doubt. Okay, it will leave nothing to doubt. Now, he did that. My problem was the scorecard still, though. Whereas the fight, they had it like Canelo won 5 rounds. Canelo didn't even win 4 rounds, okay? I tried to give him 3 rounds. I mean, I was being generous giving him 3 rounds. You know, I was being very, very generous in giving him the 3 rounds. But the problem I have now is we saw a masterful performance. We saw what boxing on the highest level is about. We saw the adjustments made. We saw pockets of aggression. We saw ring generalship. We saw everything. Basically, if you have a kid and you want that kid to box, you show him that tape. You show him that fight on how to box. Okay? You show him that fight. You show him that one. My problem is now Canelo fans are moving the goalposts back. Now the Canelo fans are saying to Terence Crawford, okay, now you fight Benavidez. But you're the same fans that were saying that Canelo is going to knock Terence Crawford out. You were the same fans saying that he can't take the power. You were the same fans saying that you were the same fans saying that he is too small. You were the same fans saying that, you know, Canelo has better boxing ability. You were saying all of those things. Now you're moving the goalposts back, and now you're saying that he must fight Benavidez, when, as a matter of fact, when Benavidez was calling out Canelo, you did not have that same energy. As a matter of fact, you were calling Benavidez a clown. You were saying that he needs to chase a payday. Now you're looking for someone else to fill the mantle, because the guy that was your guy could not fill the mantle. That's just the bottom line. Okay? That's just the bottom line. So, with this being said, it becomes a thing where I, in my humble opinion, Bud does not need a fight no more. Bud can just go off into the sunset. If he so chooses, he could decide to maybe conquer 160. If he so chooses. To be honest, there ain't really a lot of motion at 160 right now. You know, there's not a lot of motion at all at 160. You know. So, I mean, he can do that if he wants. He's not going down to 154. Otherwise, I would say Boots Ennis is a fight that, you know, he can entertain, you know. But I'm still big on Boots Ennis, you know. I think, like, personally, yeah, he should work on his defensive, his defensive accoutrements, so to say. He does get touched up a little bit, and I think that has a lot to do with the risk he's taking. It's boxing, you will get hit. But now it becomes a thing of, like the gladiator said, are you not entertained? You want this man to basically beat Thanos instead of giving him his flowers right now. It's one Canelo fan. Here's some of the excuses I've heard. One Canelo fan even said it's because Canelo just had a kid, so his testosterone is lower. Another Canelo fan said that Canelo is Canelo. The fight was fixed. The fight was fixed for Canelo to lose because he got paid $150 million. There's been so many excuses. Okay. Now, what needs to be said. Okay. I'm gonna segue to MMA because I watch MMA. Don't get me wrong. And as a matter of fact, I'm gonna make a video about this. I'm gonna make a video about this one tomorrow, inshallah. I guess I'm gonna resurrect this channel, inshallah. Um, but there's another thing that is being said now. You have the wannabe Ilya Topuria of the MMA, right? He's a wannabe. This guy is not to be taken serious. He's a wannabe guy. And what I mean by wannabe, he's a wannabe Conor McGregor. Now he's trying to entertain a Terrence Crawford fight, and it's like, bro, you're not even entertaining people in your own division. You're fighting next year. You said you're fighting in 2026 because your brother is fighting. Meanwhile, all the while you've been ducking Arman Tsarukyan for the longest. And I don't care what none of these Ilya Topuria fans say, he has been ducking. Okay? Yeah, he pulled out of a fight. Yeah, he pulled out. Okay? I'm not saying it's right that he pulled out of the fight against Islam Makhachev in the rematch. I'm not saying it's right, but this is water under the bridge. You guys are saying that, oh, Ilya sleeps Terrence Crawford. You're saying all these stupid things when really, in reality, it's a cash grab. Okay? And I'm pretty sure that Terrence Crawford will make more money in a boxing fight than fighting Ilya Topuria. What Ilya Topuria needs to worry about is fighting Arman Tsarukyan, okay? Which he doesn't seem to want to do. Because of the simple fact, yeah, Ilya Topuria has a good box game, but there's a difference between boxing and striking. Arman Tsarukyan is a well-rounded fighter, okay? He's a better striker. It doesn't mean a better boxer, but he's a better striker, and he's a better wrestler. He's been wrestling with Khamzat Chimaev. I think he even wrestled with Abdul Rashid Saduev as well, okay? You're trying to entertain in a fight with Terrence Crawford, and meanwhile, you're scared to death of Arman Tsarukyan because you know it's going to be a hard fight. That's why you're trying to fight Justin Gaethje and things like that. Okay, and all these Ilya Topuria fans are just sickening. They're very, very much parallel to Canelo fans. Okay, it's ridiculous at this time. But you know, this is just my introductory back into the mix. I'm gonna be in the mix again. You know, leave some comment sections if you want to see the gym that I attend, you know, here where I'm living. And let's get the conversation started with this fight, okay? It just shows you that saying brains over brawn is true. It shows you that Sun Tzu, Art of War, is true. It shows you that what the Prophet Muhammad said, alayhi salatu salam, is true. War is basically stratagem, is what the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu salam said. Okay? That fight shows that everything he said is valid. Canelo's strategy, this was his strategy, but there wasn't a B strategy. Canelo's strategy was size, loading up on shots, and going for the haymaker and throwing the whole kitchen sink at the boxer. Who's smaller? But if you look at Terrence Crawford grapple, you will know that he's strong. He's very, very strong. So with this being said, the physical strategy was there for Canelo, but the tactical strategy wasn't there. And the tactical strategy was there for Bud Crawford, okay? The guerrilla strategy, you know. That's the thing. So with this being said, leave your thoughts, leave your comments. Fuller signing out. Rahmet Sabul.